Good morning, friends, followers, channel members. I can say good morning with about 4 minutes to spare here in the UK. It's an afternoon lunchtime stream. We don't do these very often. Sadly, there was no Mileage Monday yesterday, so I thought we'd try and make up with it today. We may even get another stream in a little bit later today. It's been a long time since we had 2 streams in one day, but we'll see how we get on. That said, just as the stream started, I got a wonderful email from my my kids' school saying, please be prepared to collect your children at any point due to COVID outbreaks in the school. So that could be fun. Who knows? We may have to divert. It's not a long flight anyway. What are we doing? We're off to Basel today, which is a major Easyjet hub. So looking forward to visiting that. Haven't been there for a while, and it's a kind of interesting approach because there's not actually any standard arrival routes in as we're coming in from the east, so we kind of vector ourselves in whilst watching out for terrain as well on the way down, right at the very sort of bottom of where the Alps start in France. So good morning, William, Wayne, Simon, Fitzy as well. Nick Burrows here with us as well. Chalty, good morning, sir. Hope you're well. Marcus, good to see you as well. So yeah, as I say, nice afternoon stream. This should be a nice relaxed, and we have indeed hit 16,000 subscribers, which is another major milestone for the channel. So really thankful to each and every one of you for helping with that. Good morning, Barry Bartson. Hope you're well. William, good morning from where's that gone? Good morning from the rainy East Coast. Oh dear. Thank you. Thankfully here it's nice and sunny. We can see that sun's just coming out. Nice ground shadow being cast by the aircraft. David Butler on Facebook and one Sam Fisher on Twitch as well. Good morning. Okay, so we are in the latest experimental version of the fly-by-wire aircraft with an updated sim brief profile to match. So hopefully things will go as semi-planned with regards to the weights and balances. This has obviously been updated. I've seen it's also been causing a few problems for people, but I think I've now sort of tweaked the normal sim brief profile that I use, and to be fair, the fly-by-wire guys have actually created one which works very well. So fingers crossed, it should all be okay. Michael Spector, hello to you, and Matthias, what is real ups? Basically, Matthew, we're doing this as a pilot would do in the real world. So there's going to be lots of boring stuff, unless you're really into aviation. But yeah, essentially that's the gist of real ups flights. No fun, all seriousness. But we've got a great simulator to be able to do it in, because Microsoft Flight Simulator looks beautiful. Hey, Dark Fury, good to see you as well. Right, should we get on board? Must be the first flight of the day for this aircraft, as you can see, nothing is turned on. GPU can come on over. The ground power unit there. Yeah, there he is. He's just getting into position. We are on VATSIM, and I believe that we do have some ATC here as well. So we're going to go get set up, then we'll contact ATC. Right, let's have a look at getting the external power connected up. So battery is 1 and 2, external power, crew supply, ground control, and then ideas 1, 2 and 3, navigation logo lights, no smoking signs, emergency signs are armed. We'll leave the fuel pumps off whilst we refuel. Oh, I know what I've not done. I haven't given you guys the operational flight plan for today, so if you are watching on YouTube, then here comes the operational flight plan for today's flight, and I'm going to pin that in the chat as well, so anyone that joins a little bit later on can see that. Alex, will I update the airframe file on SimBrief? I will, once I've just done a couple of checks to make sure it all works right, or I guess we'll see in a moment as well. I'll post it in our Discord server in the pilot's briefing room. Okay, so that's all well and good. I want to start getting passengers on board, so we'll start the APU. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So we'll let that get started. As we can see, aircraft is nicely powered up. Let's come across, get the tablet turned on. Night at night, that is a very good point. I have not yet updated the NVIDIA driver, which you should always do, of course. So I should probably have done that before starting this stream. Never mind, if we do get a second one in today, I'll try and remember to do that. Right, there's all the information on the tablet. QNH 1027, and as I say, if I go here, I think we've got some ATIS available. So this is currently information Charlie on board, arrival runway 34, departure 2934. I'm hoping we get a 29 departure. It's just a little bit quicker and more straightforward. QNH 1027. Okay, so that's all we need on there. Our operational flight plan then, which I've just given you guys. We've got planned block fuel of 5 tons, and I've already checked the weather for Basel. Nothing major there. Strangely enough, they're landing with a tailwind at the moment, which is a little bit different, but it's within aircraft limits. So if we take an extra half ton, that should be fine. So we're going to take 5.5 tons. So let's go ahead and get that loaded onto the fuel page and type that in. So real time, we'll get that defueled. So 5.5 tons now is what we're going for. Let's just go ahead, and we've already done the overhead. With the exception, of course, I should have done the APU fire check, but I didn't. We'll test engine 1. That's fine, and we'll do the engine 2. There we go. So that's the APU. I can get the APU bleed air on, and then we can start getting those passengers on board. Now that's all done. Let's just come down, check the pedestal. So VHF2 is 121.5. What's the frequency here at Vienna? It's 13467. So I'll contact them in a bit, but we'll just pop that on standby for now. 134,675. There we go. So that's all okay. Flight deck door is currently open. Switching panel is fine. Thrust levers, spoilers should not be there. Engine masters fine. Parking brake on. Flaps up. Transponder should be in standby and then turned on. Okay, that's all good. FCU. Let's just turn the brightness up on there. Flight directors 1 and 2. Didn't say the QNH here, did I? 1027 and here 1027. That's all set. I'll leave setting the cleared flight level until we've got that from ATC, as I know they're online. Let's pop the primary flight display and navigation display brightnesses up, as well as the ECAMs. I'll leave the first officer screens on, but on dim at the moment, so we can see things still being loaded on the aircraft with the various doors and things opened up. Right, well, I'm happy now to start letting passengers come on board. So let's tell the guys and gals that they can let them on.
Cabin crew refueling is underway and the bags are starting to get loaded, so let's open the doors and allow our passengers on board. Thank you. No problem.
Okay, so passengers are boarding. Let's go up and set the box. So just need to go to the ATC, AOC and init press. Init data request. 1 hour 6 minutes our flight time. And then to the weights and balance page, we can ignore the fuel page. And this is the new fuel page, so let's see how this gets pulled in and whether it works correctly. So we're now going to request that payload and see how that compares with the operational flight plan. 18096, 18038. So there is a slight discrepancy there between the flight plan and what's being loaded here. Now I can't change that, or at least I don't think I can. It's in green, so I shouldn't be able to change it. But I'm just going to double check that. No, I can't change that. So slightly heavier, 50 kilograms heavier, which means a zero fuel weight of 6435. Oh, exactly 58 kilograms. I had this issue yesterday, 58 kilograms. I don't know what is so special about 58 kilograms, but occasionally I'm just 58 kilograms heavier than the OFP. But there we are. I can't do anything about that. Right, let's start that boarding process here. I think what will come eventually is you're going to hear passenger sounds of the passengers boarding once you hit the button just there. But that is all to come in the future. So 58 kilograms heavier, it's not a massive amount. We've already of course got extra fuel on board, so that's not going to concern me. Just need to be aware that zero fuel weight is now 64358. What we will check is the gross weight of the aircraft prior to takeoff. So I'm expecting to see takeoff weight is going to be 69, probably closer to 69.2 tons rather than 69.1, which it currently is. But that's alright. So we'll let that finish boarding whilst that's taking place. Iris still aligning, aircraft status, LEAP engines and valid Airac cycle. So go to the init page, get the uplink and just clear the not in database, that doesn't matter. There we go. Alternate today is Zurich, Lima Sierra Zulu Hotel, and our flight number today is Easyjet 17 Alpha Romeo. It's just checking that's right, isn't it? Yeah, Echo Zulu Sierra 17 Alpha Romeo. Top Swiss, we don't fly these very often. Call sign Top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo. Cost index of 8, flight level 380 minus 52. It's showing minus 57 on the OFP, so we'll update that. And the Tropo 37. Actually, that's one of the closest I've seen the Tropo. That's pretty spot on. That we'll leave that. So our flight plan, we're expecting to depart. I'm going to pop in runway 29 via the Seville 1 Charlie. There it is. And insert. And then the arrival into Basel. As I say, at the moment they're using ILS 15, and it'll be the ILS 15 Zulu. And all of the stars actually come in from the west. Well, we're approaching from the east, so we're actually not going to use any stars. Do we have any VIAs here? Yes, we're going in via Adoga. And insert that. A distance of 439, and I've got 413 on the flight plan, so that's okay. Onto the RadNav page. A couple of things I need here. I need to have in the... What do I need? I need the Fox Mike Delta. Fox Mike Delta. Popping that in VOR2. And then I also need the Sierra November uniform. And that'll become clear why I need those in a little while. There we go. So that's now all set up. Into the init B page. So our zero fuel weight 64.4. As I say, slightly heavier than planned. So 0 fuel weight 64.4, 0 fuel weight centre of gravity 23.9, which is actually quite realistic. It has changed. It's now moved further away from the 30%, so that's okay. But you do need to remember to set that trim wheel. If you don't set that trim wheel, you may have issues with your departure not going as you'd expect. Trip wind, very slight tailwind today of 3. Let's pop that in. Fuel planning is 4, and we're taking 5.5 tons. Is that finished? We'll call it 5.4 tons now. Pop that in. Fuel for the alternate, we can call that 0.9 tons of fuel, or 900 kilograms. An extra 21 minutes flying time. Lovely. Onto the performance page then. Transition altitude here in Vienna is 10,000 feet. It's a noise abatement departure procedure 1. So that's going to be thrust reduction at 1600. The acceleration is at 3600, and engine out acceleration is at 1600. Flaps 1 for our departure, and we'll calculate those V speeds. Okay, so that's the box all set up. What I want to do now is we'll just have a quick chat with ATC and see if everything that we've set up actually matches with what what we've programmed. So hopefully we'll get the runway 29 departure and the Sovel 1 Charlie departure. Just check their cell online. 134675. Let's give them a call then. Vienna, good afternoon. Top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo is type A320 Neo, parking stand Fox 32, requesting IFR clearance to Basel as filed, and we have information Charlie on board.
Top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo being servus. With profile of 1 Charlie departure, and 5,000 feet for 1,000.
Initial climb 5,000 feet and squawk 1,000. Just confirm the departure for us again, please, Top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo.
Sovel 1 Charlie.
Via the Sovel 1 Charlie. Thank you, Top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo. Good. That is exactly as we had. That is exactly what we had planned for. And let's just pop in the squawk and also that initial climb out to 5,000 feet. How do I get the thrust reduction and acceleration values? I have them from sort of the real world, and that is available in our Discord server in the pilot's briefing room, the big file which contains them all for the European airports. So just whilst I'm waiting to go, we can just turn the radio off, and let's do a departure briefing. In fact, how are the passengers doing? Are they all on board? There's still a few boarding. Do you know what? I'm just going to shut that door because they're quite loud. So let's do a departure briefing then. So we are, as I said, at stand Fox 32. Let's bring the charts up. And Fox 32 is just here, so we are going to push back facing to the east, and then obviously we'll get taxi instructions from ATC. I expect them to take us straight down Whiskey, and then from Whiskey that will take us to Alpha 3. We're doing a Toga takeoff, and it's a nice long runway, so with Toga takeoff I don't see any problems with taking Alpha 3, so we'll let the controller know that we can do that as well, just save going all the way to Alpha 1. So potentially take off then from Alpha 3, departing runway 29 or Sovel 1 Charlie. Again, this is quite straightforward, so once we are at 1,000 feet, that is where we begin our turn. Autopilot will be on board for this. So a left hand turn after passing 1,000 feet, and we'll just check the coding of this in a moment to make sure all these waypoints are accurate, and then that initial climb out to 5,000 feet. Remember, of course, it's noise abatement 1, so thrust reduction is 1,600 feet, but we'll keep that nose up because acceleration is 3,600 feet, so we're going to hit that climb, we'll hit that altitude quite early on. Minimum safe altitude is 4,700 feet on that departure, but other than that the departure itself looks pretty straightforward. The weather here in Vienna is quite nice. There's very few clouds in the sky actually, just having a quick look around. The sun is shining. It's got two great long runways here in Vienna. If we had a problem, I'd have no problems coming and landing back here. Now just checking that weight now that all our passengers have been loaded. Takeoff weight was planned to be 69.1. That is actually much heavier. Mind you, I've had a half ton of extra fuel, haven't I? So that's okay. It does mean, however, that we are above the maximum landing weight, only by a couple of tons, but we need to factor that in. If we did need to make an instant return, then we'd have to run the overweight landing procedure. If not, we could potentially enter a hold, burn off a bit of fuel, and then come back in and land. It depends on why we would be returning. So the aircraft that we have here is the A320NX from FlyByWire. It's the experimental version, which means it has the custom flight plan manager, but it also has in-op systems. So we have no terrain radar, which is a shame departing out of Vienna. That would have been quite handy. And also coming into Basel, we have no active working weather radar, and we also have no TCAS. So we need to just keep that in the backs of our minds when climbing and descending and then levelling off. No NOTAMs to be aware of that are going to affect us for departure. Threats to be aware of, then we've obviously got the terrain, which I've just mentioned and you've just seen on the chart. Minimum safe altitude again 4,700 feet, and again I'll just bring that up. So the terrain starts to climb quite quickly on our departure route. We're a little bit to the right of it as we fly out, but we should see that nicely out of the captain's window. If you are sat on the left hand side, you will start to see the terrain climbing up there. So that's the departure. Let's talk about if anything goes wrong. So the emergency brief. If we have any problems during the taxi, we can obviously contact air traffic control as they are on the line. We'll stop the aircraft, tell ATC that we've had to stop, and then we'll run any ECAM memos, things like that, and try and solve the problem if we can, keeping ATC informed as to what we're doing as well. On departure, if there are any problems or warnings before 100 knots, then we'll consider stopping. After 100 knots and up to V1, we only stop for the uninhibited ECAM warnings, cautions, engine fire or failure with or without thrust loss, or if I think the aircraft is completely unsafe to fly. If that's the case, I will call stop. We go max reverse, keep the aircraft nice and straight on the runway, and use manual braking if auto braking isn't stopping it as well as I think it should. If we've had a fire warning as well, I'll also try and turn the aircraft into the wind. Once we come to a stop, we stow the reversers, set the parking brakes, and then we will just look at the ECAM screens and confirm why we have had to abort the takeoff. Once we've establish the cause of the failure, we can either complete the ECRAM tasks and ask ATC to vacate the runway, or of course if we did have something like a fire warning and it was more serious, we'd have to consider running the emergency evacuation checklist. If we have a failure after V1, we're obviously committed to takeoff, so we'll depart and take off using the standard technique. If it is a engine failure, that is, we'll take off using standard technique of 12.5 degrees pitch, following the SRS and using the rudder to counteract any yaw. Once the aircraft has a positive rate of climb, we'll get the gear up, trim out any yaw, and we will engage the autopilot. I will also pull the heading bug as well, because we don't want to be in nav mode with the autopilot on following the SID. It is a non-standard engine out procedure here, so we would pull the heading bug, and when we are 5.7 miles from Fox Mike Delta, which is just here, we make a left-hand turn to the Sierra November Uniform VOR, which is going to be our holding point. Holding entry is 350 degrees, and it's a right turn in the hold, and that is just down here, so we can see where that is. Now that I've pointed those out, I'm just going to pop those both on. So there's Fox Mike Delta, there's the Sierra November Uniform. Once the engine's secured and we're above the single engine acceleration altitude of 1,600 feet, we will push to level off, accelerate, retract the flaps on schedule, and then at green dot we'll go into open climb and set maximum continuous thrust. Once we have passed 1,600 feet, then we look to turn to our holding point. Actually, no, that's complete rubbish. Once we are at 5.7 miles from Fox Mike Delta, that's when we need to turn towards the holding point. Once we're in the holding point, then we decide what to do next. Continue, revert, or return, or divert. Okay, so there's our emergency brief done. All the passengers are now on board. I think the doors can be closed. Do we still have the jetway attached? We do have the jetway attached, so that can go. Just check that lower ECAM. Make sure those doors are all closed. Wonderful.
Hi Gavin, all the passengers are on board and we're ready to go. I'll bring you a cup of tea after we've taken off.
Thanks a lot.
APU is obviously running. External power is no longer needed, so let's get that off. We can tell the ground power unit thank you very much. Wave him goodbye. There he goes. So I am sorry if I'm missing any questions that you guys may be asking in the chat, but whilst doing this, obviously concentrating on the aircraft setup. A couple of things I want to check, then we're going to run the before start checklist down to the line. So back to that data page, I want to check we've got 3 nav green, which we do, and fuel 5460, and check that's balanced as well. Final check, I want to just check the coding of our departure, making sure that that matches everything on here. So we should have 1,000 feet. Once we hit 1,000 feet, excellent, we get that left hand turn to 295, 233, and then to Sauville. Wonderful. Let's just scroll through, check for any discontinuities after that. There's the first one. And there is the second one. We can't clear this one because this is a manual flight at this point. And we'll have a look at that when we are en route. Okay, so all looks like we're good to go. Let's run that before start checklist to the line then, shall we? So, cockpit preparation is completed. Our signs are on and auto. It is 3 nav green. Fuel quantity is 5460 and balanced. FMGS is set. Altimeter 1027.
Cabin crew, what about ready to push back? You found the door there and cross check. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck this morning, let me welcome you on board this Easyjet aircraft as you settle in for what we hope is going to be a most enjoyable flight. The weather today doesn't look posing much of a problem, so we should have a nice smooth ride for you throughout the duration of the flight. And as the cabin crew continue making their last preparations, if you could please assist them by getting yourselves sat down, your seatbelts fastened, and make yourselves nice and comfortable. The ground crew have now finished loading the aircraft, and we're just about finished with all our pre-flight checks, so it won't be long until we are pushing back. If you could please give the cabin crew your full attention as they go through the safety briefing, we very much appreciate it. So on behalf of myself and the First Officer, we'd like to say thank you for choosing Easyjet today, and we look forward to giving you a safe flight.
So I'm going to let the tug driver get into place, then we'll request our pushback clearance from ATC. Ooh, Wizz Air and Austrian. Not surprised to see Austrian Airlines here, of course.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Nice to have this interaction now with
Standing by
the
for pushback.
pushback tool. Right, so they're standing by. Let's go back onto the ATC frequency. And Vienna approach top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo is ready for push and start stand Foxtrot 3-2.
Top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo, push and start approved, blue line, QNH 1027.
Push and start approved to the blue line and 1027, the QNH top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo. Okay, so that blue line, let's just have a quick check behind us, see if it is modelled at all. Yeah, there you are, there's the blue line, that's where we're heading back to.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push. Parking brakes set.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Okay, before start checklist below the line, windows and doors are closed and armed, rotating beacon light is on, mobile phone is off, parking brake is on. We're going to release that parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
Slow down that tug, I don't want it to go too fast. Okay, so let's there he goes.
Ground. Please cancel pushback operation.
Oh, what's happened there?
Pushback cancelled.
Why have we cancelled the pushback? No, we don't want to cancel the pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
Something went wrong there. Let's just do that again, shall we?
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Barry, I do wish the pushback tool had some more less robotic voices, but
Standing by.
what
for
can you do?
pushback.
We now ask for your attention while we take you through the safety procedures on this
Cockpit to
aircraft.
ground.
A safety card is
Go
in your
ahead.
seat pocket showing the
We are
exit
cleared
route,
for start and push.
oxygen masks,
Parking brakes
life
set.
jackets and brace position that you
Okay,
must adopt
cleared
if
for
you
push
hear
start.
brace,
Please release
brace.
parking brake.
There are two
Parking brakes
emergency
are
exits
released.
at the rear, 4 in the middle,
Commencing pushback. You can start
and
the
2
engines
at the
in
front
sequence.
of the cabin.
It will start in the
Floor
sequence.
lighting will guide you to an exit. Please be aware that your nearest exit may be behind you.
There we go. So,
In an emergency,
let's start the engines. So engine mode selected to start and starting engine 1.
adjusted and released as shown. It must be fastened when the seatbelt signs are on, and we recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. If the air supply fails, masks will drop from above you. Pull a mask towards you to start the oxygen. Put the mask over your nose and mouth. Hold in place with the strap. Pull on each side to adjust. Put on your own mask before helping others. If we land on water,
We can see the blue line just coming in there. That's what we're aiming for.
pass the tapes around your waist. Click together.
I love that these guys have got the right uniform. Little Easyjet on the high vis.
Do not inflate it inside the aircraft. When outside, inflate by pulling the toggle. If it fails to inflate or needs topping up, blow into the tube.
Lucas!
We also carry flotation aids for
I read that. I did read that, Lucas. I thought, hang on a minute. All is forgiven, Lucas. Oh, thank you so much for your donation.
with Easyjet.
Feel like your girlfriend caught you texting someone you shouldn't be. Oh, Lucas, that's made my flight. Good to see you on board anyway, mate. Hope you're well. Right, so let's try and get this tug driver on, getting us on that blue line nice and accurately. That's not looking too bad. How is engine 1 doing? Engine 1 is stable, so... Oh, there's the PTU. Tell you what I didn't do as we pushed. Didn't start the timer, did I? There we go. Well, this isn't looking too bad actually. That'll get us quite nicely on that blue line. Might just need to increase that rate of turn a little bit just to make sure we're on the nose. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect. It'll be close enough. That'll do actually. So we'll stop the push there.
Pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Ryan, sadly no. TCAS is not showing.
Ground. Startup is complete. You may disconnect.
Roger. Good engine start. Clear to disconnect. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Right, so our pushback is complete.
705, push and start approved blue line.
Engine number 2 is now stabilised, so let's go ahead and run the after start checks. Anti-ice is not required. Spoilers, rudder, flaps 1. And set that trim value. So this is now really important that you get this right. 23.9. So there we go. After start checklist. Anti-ice is off. ECAM status is checked. Pitch trim 23.9. Rudder is 0. So I'm going to do flight control checks whilst we're sat here. Full left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral rudder, full right, rudder, full left, and neutral. Okay, the pushback is clear. Let's get our taxi clearance. Before I do that, I'm just going to grab the ground charts. So I'm expecting him to take us via Whiskey, and I'm going to let him know that we can take Alpha 3. Vienna approach top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo is ready for taxi, and we can depart via Alpha 3.
Top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo, take building point runway 29, Alpha 3 via blue line, Whiskey exit 2.
Taxi to holding point Alpha 3 for runway 29 via Whiskey and exit 2, top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo. So just looking at the chart for that, so that's straight out and then down onto Whiskey. To be honest with you, these charts aren't the best for this airport. So, even though these are in up, I'm just going to get those turned on now. And release the parking brake a little bit. Of thrust.
464, switch Unicom 128.
Over to Unicom 122.8, sector ATC, goodbye.
This is a 15 Fox, Unicom 128.
So we'll continue to run some checks and get the aircraft ready once we're on a nice straight run. So following that blue line, and this takes us straight on to Whiskey. Great to see that we've got accurate signage as well, so that should be down here to the right, I believe. Yep, so this is Whiskey, so that takes us all the way down. We'll dig the cabin.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
And then follow this round to the right slightly. So, quick PEDS check. No change to the performance. QNH still 1027. Toga takeoff. Engine out procedure non-standard. 5.7 miles from Fox Mike Delta. It's a left turn to the Sierra November uniform holding point. And departure matches what we have in the FMGC. Stop altitude 5,000 feet. Before takeoff checklist, we'll run that in a second. I'm just going to check, is that exit 2 Alpha 3? There we go. So via exit 2, there's the holding point. So before takeoff checklist to the line, flight controls have been checked, departure briefing confirmed, flap setting is config 1, which is set. FMA takeoff data. (136) blue, 141 magenta, climb nav blue, 1FD2, 5000 blue. Toga, transponder is set, ECAM memo, takeoff no blue, electronic flight bag is stowed. Cleared for takeoff, runway 29 at top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo. So, the approach path looks clear. Let's get the strobes on. Didn't have those tax lights on before we moved. Thank goodness it was daytime. And transponder and TCAS. Let's line up.
Cabin crew seats for takeoff, please.
Before takeoff checklist, below the line, cabin is secured. Engine mode select is normal. TCAS, TARA. I'll get the packs off as well in a moment. So let's just make sure we get a nice angle of turn so we brake too much. Nice angle of turn so we don't waste runway. Okay, I'm going to run that checklist again. So cabin secured for takeoff, engine mode selector is normal, TCAS, TARA. I'm going to get those packs off now, and anti-ice is off. Over 3 minutes since the engine start, so let's reset the chrono. Let's go. Takeoff. We're ready. Start the chrono. Set 50% N1. And engine stable, set takeoff thrust. Man Toga, SRS and runway. V1, rotate. Nav, gear coming up. And we'll wait to pass 1,000 feet, there it is. Make that left hand turn. Set climb thrust. Thrust climb SRS. Autopilot 1 going on, and PAX number 1 back on as well. Notice we've still got that nose pitched up. So we hit 3,600 feet, PAC 2 can come on as well.
This is 705, 310 degrees, 9 knots, ground with an
And I don't know if he's going to... Over to Unicom, thanks very much for the service, Top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo. Okay, we're in climb, but we're going to give ourselves a higher rate of climb just now, so let's set flight level 200, oops, flight level 200, set standard pressure, so we're in open climb, flight level 200. I can put that into managed, actually. There's nothing in our way constraint wise, so that's climb mode now. And as we start to climb now through this cloud layer, I'll just pop the ice on as well. Approaching S speed, so we can clean the aircraft up shortly. There we go. Flaps 0, ground spoilers disarmed. Lovely. Well, that terrain I said we may see out on the left hand side, it might be obscured by cloud, but never mind. So once again, apologies if you have been asking questions in the chat, etc. I don't look at it too much as we're getting set up and departing, as regular viewers of the channel will know. But we'll have a little bit of time in the cruise. Not that it's a long cruise, 1 hour 6 minutes flight today. That looks quite neat, doesn't it? And can ding the no smoking signs. Let the cabin crew unbuckle and start preparing the drinks cart for you all. Coming up on 10,000 feet. About 1,000 feet to go. I think that might be the top of the clouds, so we can get the de-ice off in a moment.
Please keep your seatbelt fastened while the seatbelt sign is on. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated. Toilets are located at each end of the cabin. Remember that smoking is not permitted at any time. This includes e-cigarettes.
"10,000 feet. Clear the RadNav page out. We're well away from traffic going into Vienna, so over to Unicom. And that looks like plain sailing, so I'm happy to take the seatbelt signs and turn those off.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has now turned off the seatbelt sign and you are now free to move around the cabin. We do recommend, however, when in your seat, that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times in case of unexpected turbulence. The toilets are now available. Please contact
we can just make flight level 380, so let's go ahead and dial that up.
Thank you.
Flight level 380 blue. All set. And we can settle in for a nice climb to cruise. Doubt we'll be staying at 380 for very long. But nevertheless, there we are. One of the things I do love about this, and you notice it very much when coming to land in a westerly direction, is if you're down here and then suddenly you go up there, if you've got the sun in your eyes, you get that glare, don't you? Which just takes a second or so for the screen to adjust, as though it were your eyes adjusting from the sunlight, which I've seen a couple of times in the sim, landing with the sun low in the sky, and I think that's great. So let's relax for a little bit and monitor the climb. Relatively stress-free, that. So slight discrepancy there we had with our zero fuel weight. We added that extra 58 kilograms of cargo in. I don't know, maybe someone decided to throw something on at the last minute. Treat, we went outside of his area, so yeah, we're not under ATC control at the moment anymore. Ryan, you change your sim refuse name of the McDo menu by going to the McDo menu. Atsu, I think it is. Is it then the AOC menu? No, it's not. Hang on. Oh, it's the options. That's what I missed. Let me just clear that. So it's the McDo menu, then into options, AOC, and there, sim brief. Pop your username in there. The Miracle 1929. It is an app called Self-Loading Cargo, which you can download and customize. Christian Starmer, good afternoon to you. And Von McLean as well. I don't think I'd seen you in the chat. I told you I ignored the chat while departing. I am curious to see how the aircraft's got our arrival planned, so I'm just going to have a quick look whilst we're going through the climb. Let's see what's going on there. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so we're going to be coming in by Adoga, and to be fair, at that point, ATC in the real world would be bringing us in. Now, the RNP approach, actually, if you went the RNP way, actually brings you in via Adoga and gets you down to Dev at 4,000 feet. And from there, it's straight in. The ILS, of course, we'd get vectors. Procedure available on ATC instructions. So yeah, expect radar vectoring to intercept the final. So if I just bring us the actual route, there you can see. So yeah, ATC would bring you in and around. We just need to be aware of the terrain that's beneath us for this one. You can find the takeoff trim that you need to set that to in the fuel prediction page, and it's just there, the CG. Obviously it's changing as we're burning fuel at the moment, but that's the value that you want to set on the trim wheel prior to departing. Obviously we're flying now, so auto trim is doing its job. Just past flight level 320. HD, good afternoon. How long have you been there? I have seen that chart before we came online. Approach chart 110. In fact, where's it gone? Let me just bring that up. I hadn't pinned it, to be fair. Yeah, because it's the initial approach, isn't it? There it is. But with the briefing strip and notes, see the final approach charts. But that is the that is the chart that you're referencing. I love the way you just lurk in the background, HD. Ever the trainer. So essentially, with no ATC online, we can get ourselves into a Doga, fly a nice intercept heading into the ILS for runway 15. Strangely enough then, HD, I don't know how long you have been here, the winds at Basel don't favour runway 15, but that's the one they were currently using. Might have to check that out. If I come on here, it'll tell me what the latest winds are at a glance. Winds 350 at 4, so they're still very light anyway, aren't they? Think we'll see how long have I been flying in the 320? That is a good question. Probably about what was the first? Which was the first Microsoft Flight Simulator? It had the 320 in it, and then it obviously brought out much more in-depth mods, didn't they? Requin 02, you can't extend the runway centerline. Not yet. The ATC communication menu. Do you mean on the FlyPad HD? That one? Or do you mean on the... Sorry, do you mean on the tablet? I don't know if any of this has actually been modelled. The chances are it will be coming, because obviously you can see it all there. But I don't know if any of it actually works just yet. The bare bones are there. But CBDLC doesn't work just yet, does it? I think mostly 5. My cat joined me the other day as well. Go on, HD. I'll play ball. We've hit the connection button. What's next? And I'd certainly agree runway 15 is much better. I've not actually delved into this page. This is going to require another manual. How's the spare time going there, HD? I pressed the wrong one. 1 second then. Connection notification. Isn't that right? What did I miss, HD? Let me start again. ATC Communication button. And then press Connection. Then Notification at the top. I think we're in the right page that you wanted to see. Let me just see how we're doing climb-wise. Alright, you want to see where the address went in. Yeah, that'll be nice when it works. Definitely doesn't work at the moment. Right, let me just plan. Need to have a look at this arrival then. So let's just get some basics in place. There's not too much given on the chart here. So at Adoga, minimum flight level is 100, which, well, that's interesting. If you're doing the RMP approach, HD, you can answer this, I hope. Putting you on the spot. So if you're doing the RMP approach, minimum 7,000 at Adoga, which is nice because looking at the distance that we've got 12 miles there, so you can lose around 4,000 feet. And then what's the distance from IVDEV? Oh, actually, you've got another 4,000. We've got 23 miles. Oh, actually, you've got quite a long way, so that's okay. Minimum 7,000 feet, so 10,000 feet at Adoga should be fine. So I'm just wondering, HD, why it showed 7,000 feet at Adoga, but then on the initial approach, is it flight level 100? Oh, is that for the hold? That's for the hold, isn't it? So minimum hold is flight level 100. Right, so if we aim for 7,000 feet then at Adoga, then from there we can obviously descend down to 4,000 feet to come in, vector ourselves in here for the ILS. In order to start planning that, let's get that in. Alpha, Delta, Oscar, Golf, and Alpha. 256 miles. Still climbing up to flight level 380. We're not there yet. So if we start that descent around about 100 miles away, that should be plenty of time. Distance from Adoga to the CF is... hang on one second. Bring that chart in there. So hopefully you can see all the information on that if I'm zoomed in enough. Do we actually have any waypoints on here? No, there's no waypoints on there. So, hang on, wrong chart. There we go. So 12 miles to IVDEV, but we're not going to use that, we're going to use the ILS. So, plenty of time to get down there. don't want to be too fast by that point, and there are speed restrictions as well on this approach. Maximum speed 185 knots, and that's 11 miles out normally. We can hold 180 knots, can't we, from there? That's okay. If we want to be 8,500 feet at Adoga to be on the profile, what about factoring in any slowing down time? If at 11.5 miles out we want to be no faster than 180 knots, so just checking, we're still climbing, aren't we? Yeah, still climbing. So we've got 237 miles to go. And if we start that top of descent, probably about 90 miles off, just keep an eye on that wind, of course. Then we'll wait. Start that descent around about 95, between 95 and 100 miles away from there. Then at Adoga I am going to aim to be 7,000 feet because I want to start slowing down, and then the plan will be, well, let's start from the top, shall we? So we're going to aim to be at 7,000 feet at Adoga, 7,000 feet at that point. Then we'll leave Adoga going down to 4,000 feet, and we need to be at least flaps 1 before we get down to 4,000 feet, and before we intercept that ILS at around about 11 miles. I've got the wrong chart up there. 11.5 miles away. Flaps 1 will mean we can pull a nice speed of around 180 knots on the approach. We obviously will have the LS button on so we can monitor the glide path angle as well, which in this case is 3 degrees, and then we will get flaps 2 out to meet the glide slope, and should bring us in nice and safely. Okay, we have a plan. A couple of other things we need to throw into that plan. Transition altitude is 7,000 feet. That platform again, just so I've got it noted down in front of me, is 4,000 feet. Let's just talk about the threats as well as we're coming in. So we're obviously coming in with terrain underneath us. Let me just check that. Mac Alt Cruise. I can't even see the TCAS dial. There we go. And if I just have a quick look on the operational flight plan, just want to check what the minimum off-route altitudes are as we're coming in towards that. Lots of boundaries to be crossed just there, isn't there? Do you know what? It's not going to show me on there. Let's have a look at the grids. I have to zoom out a bit to see those. So a couple of high ones. So even if we start the descent around 100 miles away, I don't want to be dialing in 7,000 feet. I want to make sure that we're clear of the terrain over there. Once we get here, you can see, actually, just see the number. It's hidden a little bit, but 8,500 feet is shown just there. And actually, Titix is where that changes, so we can keep an eye on that. So when we start the descent, we'll go down to 13,000 feet. Monitor that from there. So top of descent, 100 miles away. Oh, is ATC online? So they are. 12405. Oh, there it is. Oh, no, it isn't. That's the tower frequency. Let's just do it manually, shall we? 12405. Is it Munchen Radar, the handle for that? Yeah, Munchen Radar.
Center 2 Romeo Foxtrot and Radar identified. To confirm your planning for ILS to 8. Are you planning for ILS runway to 8? Romeo Foxtrot, Roger, descent 4,000 feet, QNH 1028.
Just let him finish his conversation with this guy, then we'll give him a call. Munchen Radar, good afternoon, top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo, flight level 380, direct Nessus.
The top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo is identified today, and Speedbird 20 is identified as well. Speedbird 20, climb flight level 310.
Climb level 310, Speedbird 20. Mention radar, good day. 6282, reviewed by the
Okay, thanks. That's it. Done with that call. So where are we? We're got about 100 miles to go before we head down. So 100 miles away from Adoga, we're going to descend, and I'll dial in flight level 130. We'll monitor that rate of descent. We then want 7,000 feet at Adoga. We're going to leave Adoga, heading down to the platform altitude of 4,000 feet. We want flaps 1 before we get there. Give us time to slow down as well. Monitoring the glide slope. Flaps 2 obviously before the glide slope. And in. Maintain and check minimum safe altitude as we're doing that descent. And the minimum safe altitude as we are on that descent is within 25 miles of the Bravo Lima Mike is 6,400 feet. I'm going to pop that in the RadNav page as we can use that to help us. Bravo Lima Mike. There we go. And a couple of other things. The decision altitude. Are we actually allowed to start the approach? Let's get the weather. So we'll send that off.
Dear returns 7491. We're a little late in terms of profile. Maybe request descent to 5,000 feet on QNH 1028. You're going to front 7491. You can do that, but then you will enter airspace Echo. For now, descent flight level 70. I'll call you back for further. Okay, yeah, descent flight level 70 then is fine. For your returns 7491.
So the wind there's 350 at 4. Variable as well. Visibility is fine. Scatter clouds 1,600 feet. 16 degrees and QNH is 1027. Let's not print that off, but we'll get that into to the perf page. I think that was the QNH when we left Vienna as well, actually. Temperature is 16. Pop that wind in, 3.5 at 4. Transition altitude is 7,000 feet. And let's check that decision altitude. So, Cat 1, we'll have no problem with the climb gradient. Runway visual range is 6,000 meters or above, definitely, so it's going to be 1134. Right, now that's popped in. HD, what we're doing, we're going to see if this works. So let's go to the Atc Communications connection. Notifications. Echo Delta Uniform. Uniform.
749 descent 5,000 feet, QNH 1028.
Descend 5,000 feet, QNH 1028, so Eurotron 7491, thank you.
Did I say 600 feet, HD? Apologies. 600 meters. Why can't they be standard across the board? Meters and feet. It's like when you're trying to work out the runway slope.
Scandinavian 1827, levels for 1,000.
For 1,000, Scandinavian 1827.
Rebirth 20, monitoring climb 1-2, that's the late bye-bye.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase a selection of hot beverages, together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we could be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
Scandinavian 1827, identified.
I said 6,000. Oh, well. We should still be able to get in, but that's not the point. Nice that we've got some ATC online, although I don't think they're going to cover Basel, being it in French airspace.
Lufthansa to Romeo Foxtrot taxi 2 stands 10 via Fox.
Hey Scott! William, good to see you as well. Lewis Aviation, hello! HD, I think on VATSIM CPDLC, just you using text. You type in your message. I think you're meant to actually be able to use your keyboard to type into the McDo now. I've not tried it and I have no idea how to activate it, so I'm not going to attempt it because I'll end up slewing the aircraft or something daft like that. Barry, didn't Boris just make it illegal to use kilograms in the UK? I like kilograms. Kilograms are good. I don't like pounds. I haven't got a clue what a pound is.
Seven 491, turn left heading 290.
Left side heading 290, so Eurotron 7491.
Thanks HD, it's good to know how we do it if when it works. Let's just talk about this missed approach, which isn't straightforward because there is terrain in front of us if we have to go around. So we climb out on runway track to a maximum of 4,000 feet until 3.5 Bravo Lima Mike, which we already have in. Then we turn right, heading 274, climbing to 5,500 feet. And then unless directed, intercept and follow the 229 radial right onto a 50-mile DME arc from Bravo Lima Mike as well. Well, Bravo Lima Mike is already in there, so that's good to know. Missed approach altitude 4,000 feet. We don't want to go any higher than that. The ILS frequency is 11155, and the elevation of the runway is 864. After landing, we're going to be vacating to the left. Just check. Once we've vacated via taxiway Quebec during day, no LVP, aircraft with wingspan 36 taxi under own power. That's a Cat 3 stop bar, the Quebec holding area. After being handed over to ground, engines will be shut down and aircraft is then towed. Okay. Sadly, we can't do that.
Delta Kilo Sierra Servus 4700 bitte.
I knew when we started talking about kilograms and pounds that the Gimme glider would get a mention.
Kan jeg 80 rundt jeg kommer med Unicom, så. Back to Unicom, and 80 rundt jeg kommer på vej.
Am I being blind? Why can I not see Quebec anywhere? Oh, is that for the maintenance guys? No, we're not going there.
Identified, 2,800 feet active, runway Oberstdorf North is runway 22, QNH 1028, and proceed direct final runway 22.
Yeah, that would be a much more sensible option, wouldn't it? Foxtrot or Echo, and then taxi in to the gate. I would like to think we'll be slowed down nicely before Delta, and certainly before the end. Nice long runway here, isn't it? Nearly 4,000 metres.
Descent 7 von 1 descent 3,000 feet, further on the glide. Descent 3,000 feet, further on the glide.
About 22 miles before we start that descent. F game over. Chances are your radios have been controlled by your not so smart AI pilot, so you want to check that that is turned off on one of these. I forget which one it is. The flight assistant. Turn that on, and then turn on the menu. Click into it, and then turn everything off. What gorgeous views today. Very nice views. So 1 hour 6 minutes is the flight time. And we've just, how long ago did we pass Nesses? We'll be at Adoga in 112 miles. In fact, don't need to use this. What I can do now is I'm not going to be using this, is I'm actually going to set that to the initial approach fix after a missed approach, in case we need it.
Correct, and cross Rabbit at level 24.
Hey Christian, hope you're well.
Ladies and gentlemen, take full advantage of your tax-free allowances today and make some amazing savings with our boutique range.
Over to Unicom for Top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo. Thanks for the service. Bye bye.
Selection of gifts, most with massive discounts, some of which are exclusive to you as an Easyjet customer. Make the most of your opportunity to shop and save from the comfort of your seat. If you'd like to see any products, have any questions, or would like to make great savings, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shop.
You can expect stand 429er.
Hi Ryan, hope you're well. That looks great down there, doesn't it? Awesome stuff. Right, we're switching over to Unicom, and then we're actually starting the descent, which we'll manage on our own. So we're now about 100 miles away, as briefed, so we're going to head down.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck once again, you will be delighted to hear that we will shortly be starting
Thrust idle open descent, 130 blue.
The cabin crew will start preparing for our arrival. If you could please make sure that all the aisles are clear, the cabin crew are able to make their way around the aircraft without any luggage in the aisles, that would be most appreciated. A reminder for our Easyjet pilot members,
Barry, you have to leave at 1 p.m. Zulu time, so maintain 300 knots until established on the localizer. Yeah, no problem, mate. Truth be told, 25 minutes, half an hour. Oh, you'll see us out, Barry. You'll be fine. You don't have to jump out. So we've set flight level 130 to maintain clearance of the terrain beneath us. We know we're safe at that, and then we're just going to be monitoring the monitoring the descent all the way through. And the Bravo Lima Mike VOR is just before the threshold of our landing runway. In fact, it's easy to show you the chart. You can see that just there. I'm just checking. Sadly, we have no ATC now coming in, so never mind. Whoever was asking me a little bit earlier if I got the Orbex split scenery, I do. Yes, great scenery. Really nicely done. So, just through the descent, we'll enjoy some of these views. The cloud obscuring the terrain, which I wish to avoid. If you haven't done so already, guys, please, if you'd be so kind, hit the like button on the stream. It really does help the YouTube algorithms. And of course, if you are new, please consider hitting subscribe. And if you do, don't forget to turn on that notifications bell so you don't miss future content and live streams. We have just passed 16,000 subscribers, so a huge thank you to each and every one of you for that. Michael John, you like Basel? It serves 3 different cities in 3 different countries. Oh well, one of the reasons that Easyjet have got a decent base there, isn't it? So many different places you can get to from Basel. Christian, I think HD is still scratching his head over that question. He's going to have to go and look things up. So we've got about 12 extra miles to play with. That's plenty of time to slow down, so that's good. Barry, for the UK people, 3 stone per pint of shepherd's pie. What about fish and chips? Do I ever fly to more exotic destinations like South America? Or what's not exotic about Europe? Usually on Mileage Mondays, when we fly a long-haul real-world route that isn't Easyjet, and we fly for usually about 4 or 5 hours. Sadly, couldn't do it yesterday, and I know I can't do it next Monday, so it's going to be a couple of weeks before we get that back in. Looking at the flight plan, which does sadly look a tad messy, we're going to be vectoring ourselves in anyway, so we need to remember to go into heading mode in a little while. Ewald, the South American airports get you every time with a high altitude. Yeah, they're fun. They're good fun. Oh, dark, that's a good call. What about the cheesecake? I still haven't had any since our last flight, and that's frustrating. Background music sounding a little bit oriental. We're in the wrong part of the world for that. Brian, it's do you know what? It's
with 1076 landing up, taking off runway 28, Vegas 2 Whiskey.
It's really, sorry, just listening to the ATC there. It's really difficult to find. They've got a Thrustmaster website, and it's the I think it's the, I can't remember if it's called the Pilot's Edition or the First Officer's Edition. think it might be the Pilot's Edition. As soon as I have more information, I'll have to post a link on that. Dark, you've got homemade chocolate cheesecake in the fridge. Have you made that, or has your other half done it? Bearing in mind, is she not busy looking after a newborn child? We'll slow that rate of descent down in a little bit. Captain's Edition. Thank you, HD. That's the one. With a little bit of luck, it might be easier to get hold of than all of the separate parts put together. So we're just about to pass flight level 200. And again, just still monitoring that that descent rate. I'm going to pull the speed bug there, as we want to start slowing down anyway. We've got about 12,000 feet to go. So I can just slowly reduce that a little bit. Oops, I've caught the heading bug. Don't want to do that. We'll leave that in nav mode. We'll set a speed of 270 knots. Lucas Barry, yeah, you're both right. Nothing new, just everything all together in one. Hopefully it might even be a little bit cheaper rather than having to buy everything separately. Overgrow the UK, talking about desserts, you're quite fond of eaten mess. Christian, CG trim I set to about 23.9, 24, and had no problems. Now the 220 knot speed restriction there, I'm going to call on HD again if he's still knocking around in the background. Presumably that max speed of 220 knots at this point is for the hold, not for the waypoint. But again, I'm going to get HD to just confirm that for me. If it is, then we'll slow down even more. $16,000 feet. I'm going to get those seatbelt signs on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. If you could please return to your seats and ensure that your seatbelt is securely fastened. If you are traveling with an infant, please ensure that they are secured safely using the infant seatbelt harness provided. Please contact a member of the cabin crew if you require assistance. Thank you.
Is the 220 knots also on the RMP approach? Well, in that case, we'll stick with that. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, we can do that. Just looking, we're now probably going to be nice and safe with the terrain beneath us. I said within 25 miles it drops down to 6,800 feet, didn't I? And we want to go down to 7,000 feet by here. So I'm happy now to continue with that descent. So we're going to set 7,000 feet. Transition altitude is also 7,000, and QNH is 1027. Exactly the same. Keep this rate of descent up, that's okay. Seatbelt signs are on. That cloud bank looks like it's going to clear quite nicely for our approach as well. So, VMC. So I'm just going to slow that rate of descent down a little bit, and I'm going to pull 250 knots just to slow the aircraft down. But keep that descent up. We're just on the profile that I want to be on, but I still need to get us slowed down a little bit. So we may have to kill some fairies. Thrust idle, open descent, and I am just going to pop those speed brakes out for a little bit. I have to keep reminding myself that those speed brakes are extended. Let's get those lights on as well, shall we? And we'll activate the approach phase.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, you may have noticed that we have just begun our final descent into our destination. If you could now assist the cabin crew by tidying up your tray.
I'm not happy with what the flight plan's got shown, so I'm going to pull the heading bug, so we're now in heading mode.
All electronic devices or switch them to airplane mode until after we have landed. Please note that the aircraft toilets are now out of use. If you wish to become a Easyjetsimpilot channel member, please contact a member of your cabin crew who will be happy to assist you. Thank you.
Christian, no, I've never landed in this aircraft since the weight balance update, so that's something else that could be quite fun. So again, just now want to, in fact we can target green dot, can't we? So speed into manage mode. Speed brakes doing their job. And you can see the flight plan changing as we reduce speed on the aircraft. 23 miles away from the runway at the moment, so the profile actually isn't looking too bad. Christian, you need to flare a little bit more aggressively. The opposite of the 321s with their changed logic. Yeah, I'm glad I'm in heading mode. Not quite sure what's going on just here. Okay, happy to continue that descent now down to the platform altitude of 4,000 feet, 4,000 blue. Thrust idle, open descent. We're now flying manually, so we're going to vector ourselves in. And I'm going to bring that speed brake up. And if we now pull a heading of around 194, shouldn't be too far away. "24 miles out." And I can slow that rate of descent down a little bit as well, as we are now nicely beneath the profile. It gives us a chance to slow down. Just waiting to get a glide slope indication as well. We'll start configuring the aircraft shortly.
Cabin crew, about 15 minutes to landing, giving the cabin, thank you.
Okay, so what are we? We're still 22 miles out. And we're beneath that profile quite nicely, so happy to slow that rate of descent down. Just wait for the glide slope indication to come in, but we're still 21 miles away. So we're nicely under that, which is why I've reduced that rate of descent to just 500 feet per minute. Don't want to configure too early. There's the glide slope. So there is that speed restriction that we need to be aware of as well. So we're now going to go flaps 1, speed checked, flaps 1, and I'm going to pull that speed. We'll pull 180 knots, and now we'll arm the approach.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be landing. Please ensure your cabin bag is safely stowed with your laptop.
Alt glide slope, lock blue, Cat 3 dual, Autopilot 1 and 2.
And window blind open. You now need to be seated with your seatbelt fastened, ready for landing. Please help us by handing in any rubbish, newspapers or magazines that you do not want to take with you. The toilets are no longer in service.
Basel traffic, top Swiss 17 Alpha Romeo is 17 miles to the north to establish and land runway 15. What a beautiful day. There we go, lock star. $15 miles out. Runway is in sight. Once the glide slope starts to move, we'll configure flaps 2. And we should hit that about 12 miles out. So in a couple of miles' time, we'll see that. We've also got the scenery from Just Sim, I think it is, for Basel Airport, so hopefully all taxi signs should be correct as well. So that's Alt, glide slope is now alive, so let's go flaps 2. Speed checked, flaps 2. And we'll continue to hold 180 knots for now. I guess one of the threats here is it's got a parallel runway, hasn't it? They're always a threat, particularly if your name's Harrison Ford. Oh, HD, now you're just making me feel bad for all those lost fairies. Glide slope star, missed approach altitude set. 9.5 miles to run. Is there a parallel motorway as well, HD? That's that's even more disconcerting. 8 miles. I'm going to reduce the speed to 160. Radio altimeter is alive. I've just keyed up the replay as well for this, so let's see if we can get a decent landing with the new weights and balance system. Okay, manage speed set, 6 miles coming up. And landing gear. Spoilers.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
5 miles, flaps 3. And flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured for landing. Auto thrust speed. Go around altitude 4,000 feet. Set. Ecam memo. Landing. No blue. Basel traffic, Topswiss 17 Alpha Romeo, established runway 15, 3 mile final. One thousand feet. Slight tailwind from the left. Autopilot 1-2 disengaged. I have control. Pappies look good. You might see that VOR actually. I think we're just about to overfly it. And just see it, I think, just now going under the glare shield. 500 feet, approach stable. Lots of glare coming off that runway. Unless it's just the graphic scenery.
300. 200. Minimum.
Continue.
100.
Seems very bright, this runway. What's it made of?
50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Christian, I see what you meant about the slightly changed logic in the flare. Anyway, spoilers are deployed, reversers are on. $17 knots coming up, reversers off. And we shall vacate left in a moment. Yeah, that runway looked really bright. I don't doubt this is what it is like in real life, but yeah, very, very bright.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving.
So we do have a replay cleared up as well, so stick around for that.
We ask that you remain seated until the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off. Portable electronic devices for messaging, calls or internet access may now be used. Please make sure that you take all your personal belongings with you, checking in the seat pocket, underneath the seat, and in the overhead lockers.
Basel traffic, runway 15 vacated.
In case anything falls out. Smoking is not permitted until you reach a designated smoking area. On behalf of the captain and the crew, it has been our pleasure looking after you today. Our ground crew will help you complete your Easyjet journey. For the latest news, promotions, flight and destination information, check out our official Facebook page, Twitter or Easyjet app.
So, HD, I can't even remember where you told me you wanted me to park. There looks like there's traffic all over the gates. How very inconsiderate. Never mind. Be quite nice to park in front of the main stand, wouldn't it? But we'll go where we can sit. Do you know what? We'll go straight on. We'll go straight in. Taxiway 26 should do nicely. No marshal to guide us. Lots of detail in the stands though. That's great stuff. External power is also available. Right, I've just popped the parking brakes on. I'm not going to turn anything off because I am going to do the replay as well. So guys, let's check. We'll check that out. But in order to do that, I need to disappear off VATSIM. So thank you very much to those that have flown alongside us. Oh, we've got security staff there as well. Nice to see. Okay, let me just disconnect off VATSIM. There we go, and then we'll fire that. We'll fire that up. So HD, what I need to do? Oh, I see. You wanted me to turn left for 26 Alpha. Well, that's why I just continued on 26 because I thought if I try and go over there, I'll probably end up damaging Nick's precious aircraft. I don't want to go ahead and do that. But this is quite nice. I will definitely be visiting here more often because now we've got some custom scenery for it, and it's a huge base for Easyjet as well. Let me just get it back inside there. Fire up that replay. So let me just stop that, and then we'll hit load. In Takeoff Studio, the scenery is from, well, I got it from Sim Market, but it's also available in the store as well. Oh, self-loading cargo passengers are now no longer happy. They think we're doing a missed approach after being teleported into mid-air. And also let me release the parking brakes, otherwise that's not going to go well when we touch down. I need to just turn off some of the terrain warning signs and cancel that approach. There we go. Oh, what's going on with the wing? That's not normal. Is the other wing doing that as well? Oh, how strange. I've never seen this happen before. There's a bit of a wing dance. Do you know what? I can't watch that. That's slightly off-putting. Let's let's go a bit further forward with the camera view. Maybe it'll sort itself out as we get a bit closer. I've noticed since, I don't know if it was World Update number 6, sadly, the replay tool hasn't always played ball. It sometimes seemed a bit jerky, but never mind. It is what it is. Sometimes you need to let the replay run once or twice and then it sorts itself out. Christian, you joke about the Flappy Bird plane, but haven't Airbus said that they're looking into doing something like this? Mind you, Airbus say a lot of things. So hopefully you've enjoyed that little mid-afternoon stream coming up to 2 PM our time here in the UK. If you have enjoyed that, please do hit the like button on the stream, and then obviously if you're brand new, please do consider hitting subscribe and turn on those notifications bell as well. Wings testing its flexibility. Yeah. Do you know one of the scariest things I ever did? This is going back a long time ago when I was younger. Is I got the chance to go into the maintenance shed down at Heathrow for British Airways, and the various mechanics and things on board. They took us up, and they opened the doors over the wings. This was for a 747-400 as well. Opened the doors over the wings and said, right, go and walk, because they're marked on the wings where you can walk. And what you actually find as well, I thought this was quite neat, is the wings are all very nice and smooth, but there is a rough surface where you're allowed to walk on, obviously to mark out where you can walk, and the sort of traction for under your feet so it's not slippy. And you can walk right to the end of the wing, and back then the winglet was about the same size as me. And they said, right, keep going, get right to the end of the wing. And I was like, I don't want to go any further. It's a long way down. And he said, no, it's fine. Just keep going, keep going. Anyway, I got right to the end of the wing. And he said, right, stop there. So obviously it stopped. He said, right, now what I want you to do is I want you to jump up and down. I said, you what? He said, yeah, just jump up and down on it. I says, well, really? And he went, yeah, just go for it. Jump up and down. You won't hurt anything. So I might do if I fall off. But anyway, there I was. About 14, 15 years old, jumping up and down on this 747-400 wing, and boy, it's like almost like being on a trampoline. Touchdown looked alright then, didn't it? Oh, that's quite nice. The replay seemed to have sorted itself out a little bit. If I just stop that, we'll rewind a little bit and check out the view from the left hand side. It's quite a nice scenic view, isn't it, coming into Basel? I think I might prefer this this view. I can't do anything about that daft wing. Oh, not sure what's going on there. It's just dancing to the beat, isn't it? It's got a bit of a bop going on. Oh, I've never seen that before, but it's making me chuckle. Yeah, that's pretty much what the wing did when I jumped up and down the Jumbo Jet's wing in the maintenance hangar. You don't realise how much those things flex. Well, you just have to ignore the wings, sadly. There's the parallel motorway HD was referring to. Nice shadow of the aircraft as well down below. And that wing is almost flapping in time to the beat, so maybe it's just connected. You could tell the winds were nice and calm. Look at that lake there. No waves at all. Windsock showing us again confirmation that there was hardly any wind on that landing. But yeah, that might take a little bit of perfecting flare wise. Never mind, it wasn't bad at all. I've definitely done worse. Right, yes, thank you so much for your company this afternoon. Hope you've all enjoyed the flight. Strangely enough, just look at the vehicles in the background. What is going on there? There's some strange things going on with the replay mod. Those vehicles are zipping around all over the place. Oh, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, of course, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me on this flight. Thank you to those that flew alongside me. A big thanks, as always, to those who donate and contribute towards the channel's upkeep throughout the stream. And as always, a continued thanks to the Easyjetsimpilot channel members for your continued support as well, and to HD for his guidance throughout. I'm going to leave you one final replay. With a bit of luck, we might even get a second stream in later today, but sadly I can't guarantee that. Thanks so much for watching, guys. As I said, I'm going to leave you with one final replay. Maybe I should just leave the bopping wing there, because that's just amusing. Thanks very much, guys. I shall see you all again very soon. Bye bye.
$50, $40, $30, $20.